All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we recap everything that happened down here in Santa Clara on a Thursday. Okay, we started off with the Niners revealed their rivalry jerseys, which are just a black jersey, black helmets, gold face masks, saloon font numbers. The Niners will wear them January 4th against Seattle right here at Levi's for Week 18. I don't know. They looked okay. I don't want to rip them, but those gold face masks look cheesy to me. We did not hear any more news today about Kendrick Borne. John Lynch told us yesterday that the Niners football operations department's having conversations about the possibility of adding Borne, but there was no Kendrick Borne news today. The Niners did officially announce that Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Sincere McCormick, and Adrian Martinez have been added to their practice squad. All three were at practice today. Martinez wearing number 18, McCormick wearing number 23, and Valdez wearing number 83. Had a chance to go into the locker room and talk to Valdez and to McCormick. And, you know, both those guys are excited to be here. Valdez said, you know, the real kicker for why he chose here over Pittsburgh was just his comfort in the system. You know, he knows the system, and it won't take him any time at all to get up to speed in this system. So I thought that was interesting. He debated between the Niners and the Steelers, but he knows the system. He had worked with the Kubiaks before, so that's why he chose the Niners, at least according to what he told us today. Sincere McCormick seemed like a real nice guy. You know, obviously had his breakout last year with the Raiders. He's excited to be here on the practice squad. He's a guy that can be a bell cow back. I mean, interesting thing. I asked him, what's the most carries you ever had in a game? He said 42. He had 42 carries in a game one time. So there aren't a lot of true what we call bell cow backs. And when I say that, I mean guys who can take 20 to 25 carries. So, you know, at some point, if the Niners have injuries here and they need him to be the bell cow guy and be that guy that takes a bunch of carries, you know you got a guy that can do it. Also, Jordan Jefferson was at practice today, number 96, who replaced Evan Anderson. And I asked Saleh about him after practice, and he said, hey, you know, I'll know more in a few weeks. It's our first, look at him. But, the one thing about Jordan Jefferson is he's very, very twitchy. He's just obviously a much better pass rusher than Evan Anderson, and I think the Niners wanted more pass rush. It's one thing, it's one thing to play the run, it's great, and Evan Anderson's a good run defender, but, man, it's also nice to be able to heat up the quarterback, and the Niners just don't have a lot of guys inside that can do that. And they have three rookies on their roster. I mean, on their roster right now, including Valdez on the practice squad. So a defensive tackle. So they're looking for a pass rush inside, and they feel like Jefferson can give it to them. Just watching him today at practice, you can see he's got explosive. He's got an explosive get off. He's 6'4", he's about 310 pounds, but he's very explosive. He's much more of a pass rusher than Anderson, who gave the Niners very little pass rush. We'll talk about this later tonight on Niners Nightly, but PFF says they have uncovered Brock Purdy's kryptonite, and I thought it was kind of interesting. They say that Purdy's kryptonite is, last year without CMC, he had a bunch of bootleg dropbacks, and he only had a 55.5 PFF grade on those dropbacks, fifth worst in the NFL. So they're saying that Purdy's real issue are on bootleg dropbacks, something to watch for sure this year. According to Forbes magazine, the Niners are the fifth most valuable NFL franchise. They're worth $8.6 billion. That's a 26% increase from last year. Dallas is the most valuable team in football. They're worth $13 billion. Then the Rams, then the Giants, then the Patriots, then the Niners, and the Eagles rounding out the top six. The NFL average franchise now is worth $7.1 billion, which is a 25% year-over-year increase from just a year ago. And for the first time, all 32 NFL teams are valued at over $5 billion. So anytime you hear these NFL owners cry poor mouth, just make sure you remember that one. And by the way, in a related story, this came out today, NFL bettors, this is according to Adam Schefter, says NFL bettors are expected to wager $30 billion on the NFL this season with just the legal sports books alone. That's not the underground money. That's just legal sports book gambling on the NFL. $30 billion. This is according to an estimate released today by the American Gaming Association. Couple other things. A bunch of Niners have new numbers. Robbie Chosen's number 7, Eli Apple's number 30, Braden Willis is number 83. Though also I saw MVS was 83 today. Malik Turner's 84. Jordan Jefferson's 96. Brian Robinson's now wearing number 3. Sky Moore number 9. Drew Moss number 65. Adrian Martinez number 18. Sincere McCormick number 35. And Russel Gage number 14. We don't really have any update today on Juwan Jennings. His hold-in/injury continues. I did find it interesting yesterday that John Lynch said there's a couple of issues at play, and those things have to settle themselves. Well, so he's saying that the calf injury is at play, obviously, and that needs to settle itself. But the second issue is obviously the contract extension demand, and I don't know how that settles itself. Brock Purdy is something we'll talk about tonight with Todd Husak on Niners Nightly on KMBR at 6. Brock Purdy is the only quarterback still with his original team from the 2022 draft. How about that? That was only 3 years ago. You know how there's the Tom Brady 6, T. Martin, Mark Bolger, Chris Redmond, Spurgeon Wynn, Chad Pennington, Gio Carmazzi, the 6 quarterbacks drafted in front of Tom Brady in 2000. Who is the Purdy 8? Can you name the Purdy 8? The 8 quarterbacks, all taken in the 22 draft in front of Brock Purdy. None of them are with the teams that drafted them. How many of those 8 can you name? We'll give it to you. Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, Matt Corral, Bailey Zappi, Sam Howell, Chris Oladikan, Skylar Thompson. There you go. The Purdy 8, the 8 guys drafted in front of Brock Purdy. The Niners officially re-signed Russel Gage today. Expect him to play week 1 at Lumen Field. He might be the Niners' second receiver for that game. The Niners also, in a subsequent move, released safety Richie Grant. Then today at practice, interesting practice. Nick Bosa did practice. Jordan Jefferson practiced. I thought he looked explosive and fast compared to Evan Anderson. Dom Pooney and Kalia Davis ran on a side field. Both are likely to start week 1 if health permits. Also on the side field, you had Jordan Watkins testing his high ankle, and you had, who else was out there? You had, Russel Gage. Russel Gage was on the side today with the knee, so he's working his way back from the knee injury. There was no Juwan Jennings sighting today. There was no any sighting of Yatir Gross-Matos. Jordan James with the fingers, he was back at practice, which is good to see as he gets ramped up for the regular season. So there you go. That's the full day. And then after practice, we talked to Robert Saleh. I asked him a couple questions. I asked him about Jordan Jefferson. He said, hey, I need to watch him more before I can give you a real good answer on what kind of player he is. So it makes me think that maybe Saleh wasn't the one pushing for him. Maybe it was more like Chris Kasarik or somebody else in the scouting department. Otherwise, if it would have been Saleh's idea, he probably would have had a ready-made answer. But I thought Saleh said something that was really interesting. And this is something that I think 49er fans should keep in mind of. He said that the rookie defensive tackle, Alfred Collins, has really befriended Nick Bosa. And he's talked a lot to Bosa about his diet and about, eating the right things and doing the right things. And he said that, Collins is really coming on. And first of all, it's great to hear that he's coming on because he's a second-round pick. It's great to hear that he's super motivated because you're talking about a guy that has amazing talent. And if he has proper motivation, the sky is the limit for Alfred Collins. But to hear Saleh speak so glowingly of Alfred Collins and the way he's remaking his body and his diet and his commitment to getting better makes me think that expect great things from Alfred Collins. He says that, he loves what he's seen in the last month from Collins as far as remaking his body, getting in shape, being committed as a pro, is to every facet of getting better. And this guy has an enormous amount of talent. We're talking about 6'5", 320, 330, but with athleticism. And if he gets super motivated, watch out for the rest of the NFL. And that's great news because West and Collins inside is what the Niners are dreaming is going to be their next dominant duo in the interior. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krueger Show. Thanks to Claw Daddy Arcades as well for sponsoring this video. Great follow at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. For Pig and a Pickle, there's 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And also thanks to Sharp Corner, sports cards and collectibles. Check them out. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Anthony Catania is at 831-521-5264. Give him a call. And he's also a great follow on Instagram at Sharp Corners 831 on the gram. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krueger Show. Join me tonight at 6 on KMBR for another edition of Niners Nightly. Todd Husak's going to stop by at 6:30. Looking forward to that. Have a great day. Go Niners.